Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Code Room. In today's lesson I'm going to show you how to build a simple guessing program using C++ as my programming language and Visual Studio 2019 as my code editor. So because I'm creating a new project and I wanted to write my code right from the scratch, which says choose a project template with code scaffolding to get started. So I'm clicking on this create new project link. As you can see right now I am in create a new project window. These are the recent project templates, meaning that if you already have a created project, so they will be displayed here. And here if you click on this drop down menu, it's talking about the languages which you will use in creating your project. So because I wanted to use C++ as my programming language, so I will choose C++, and these are all the platforms. As you can see, there is Android platforms, Azure, iOS, Linux, macOS, tvOS, Windows and Xbox. Because I'm using Windows 10, so I will choose Windows as my platform. And here if you click on this drop down menu, it will give you the list of application types which you are going to create. So I'm choosing console. So just click on this console app, click on this next. This is configure your new projects. This is where you will give the project a name such as project name, project location. In this case I'm going to name my project guessing game. Let me choose a location for my project, BS project console. So let me name my folder, which is guessing game for clarity. Just select the folder, click on this create link. The project is creating. Yes, right now I am in the window. So these are the comments that have been highlighted with a green text. As you already know that the compiler skips a comment whenever it finds it within your programs, because it doesn't have effect on our programs, so you can delete it. There are several headers that I'm going to include in my project. So as you can see, there is already one written header which is called IO stream header, and this header is of very importance in C++ programming. So you need to include this header because it serves as an IO stream header, which means input output streams. So let me include another header, hash include std lib, and this is standard library header file. So I need to include this header because I wanted to use some functions which include like the srun function and the run function, and they are associated with the std lib header, so I need to include them. I also include another header which I call it time header. So these are the headers that I'm going to use inside my project. So this line of code I don't need it, so I can delete it. I also need to call the standard library. So using namespace std stand for standard library. So as you can see, this is int main. Here main is my main functions. This is where my program is going to be executed. So let me start by writing the function that I'm going to use within the program. I'm going to use s1 as one of my function. As you know, s1 is an inbuilt function in C++ standard library, which is defined in cstdlib header file. So srun is used to initialize random number generators. This function, it gives a starting point for producing the pseudo random number integer series. Because the function accepts parameter, so the parameter that is normally accepted or passed in this function is known as seed for generating pseudo random number. Whenever a different seed value is used in srun, the pseudo number generator can be expected to generate different series of results, the same as run also. So here you see it says unsigned int seed. So the name of the integer that normally is passed through this function is known as seed. So in my case, I'm going to use time with a null value. I'm going to use two variables which has to be created. The first variable is known as the guess variables, and the second variable is known as num, which stands for number variables. So this guess variables is of integer type, int guess, which is equals to 0. So these variables, it is a variables which will store all the number that is being guessed by the player, because it is a guessing game. So in these games, the system will ask a player to enter a guess number so that whether it corresponds to the random numbers that is generated by the system, is higher than the numbers generated by the system, or the guess number is lower than the random number generated by the system, or does it equals to the random number generated by the system. So let me create another variable of integer type, int num equals to rand %. So as you can see, we have another function which is known as run function. So this run function is just like srun function. Only different is that it accepts no parameter. As you can see, there is no parameter in it. It's also an inbuilt function in standard C++ library, which is defined in cstdlib header file also. But this function is used to generate a series of random numbers. Therefore, we use this function when we want to generate a random number in our code. So I wanted this function to generate a random number from 1 to 5 so that the player can be able to guess the correct random number which is generated by the system by entering his guess number. So without much waste of time, I'm going to start writing the expression using the do while loop. So cout See how it means console out. So this is a command in C++ which displays some text on the screens. So in this case, it will ask the player to enter the guest number. Enter the guest number. So the player will now enter the guest number by using the cin command, which is console in. Console in means console input. That means the player will input his guest number. So I'm going to use if else statements to evaluate my expressions. So if the guest number is greater than the generated number, the program will output or display a message to the player that guest number is too high. Else if the guest number is lower than the number generated by the system, the program will also display a message to the player that this number is too low, meaning that if the number entered by the player is lower than the number generated by the system, then the system will reply or will display a message to the player that the guest number is too low. So you need to perform another action. Else see out that's the correct guest number. That's the correct guest number. So while number is not equals to guess, you see this line of code I'm writing, it will clear all the junk messages after running my programs, after the program has displayed the results. So all the unwanted messages which as default to the console will also be cleared and leave the results only. So I'm going to run my program. Since it shows that no issues found, meaning that there is no any single error in this program, so the program is ready to be run now. So we run our program by clicking on this local window debugger. As you can see, build started. It is building this program to make sure that there is no error. Yep. So the program now asks the player to enter a guest number. That means right now the system has generated some randomly numbers, but we didn't know what number exactly is being generated. So the numbers are between 1 and 5, so we didn't know exactly which one is the correct generated number, but we will come across this number by entering our own number. So just click 1. As you see, the guest number is too low, meaning that this number which the player entered is lower than the number generated by the system. Let's try another number. Let's enter like 2. 2 is also lower than the number which is generated by the system. Let's enter 3. And the program says that's the correct guest number, meaning that 3 is the number which is entered by the player, and it also corresponds to the random number generated by the system. So this comes to the end of our programs. As you can see, C++ is of more visors. You will really enjoy writing your code using C++ as your programming language. Please, if you find this video helpful, help me by clicking on the red subscribe button. Like the video and comments. Thank you once again, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing video like this one. Thank you. See you next.